So over the last couple months, our group has been assigned to research the Great Rolling Plains region of West Texas, West and Northern Texas, and the species we were assigned was A. cunicularia, which is the burrowing owl. And so over the last couple months, we've been working collaboratively to figure out what the most effective way to manage these owls is, and how to do so without compromising with landowners in Texas, which is a lot of Texas is privately owned. I believe only 6% of Texas is public land now, as well as collaborating with research programs to figure out what the absolute best way to conserve this species is. So to give y'all a bit better understanding of what we're looking at here, understanding burrowing owl behavior was a crucial first step. So the A. cunicularia is a small ground-dwelling owl, so they rely on living on the ground for everything. It's not an owl that you see in trees, and while it is a flighted bird, they rely on the abandoned burrows of excavating mammals like prairie dogs, badgers, and things like that to make their homes, or will sometimes otherwise make their own burrows. Now in Texas specifically, these birds face numerous challenges, primarily due to habitat loss, with 96% of Texas being privately owned land. So the change of land use and declining populations of their prey, which include rodents, lizards, snakes, small insects, have definitely taken a number on the species. And while it's still considered a least concern type species, there is cause for concern as Texas becomes continually more industrialized and less habitat is available for these owls. Much of their home range in West Texas is being used for cotton and rice cultivation, some wheat, some corn, things like that, which completely eradicates their home, as a lot of that land has to be torn up for livestock production, for crop production. And then even in situations where you have land being used for livestock, such as cattle, that poses a major threat to the burrowing owls because they risk having their homes trampled or the land just being overused. So whenever you see situations where cattle are overgrazing, then that doesn't provide enough cover for their prey items. So you just don't see as many populations of burrowing owl concentrated in areas that are really heavily used for agriculture. So going into effective management strategies, it seems it's essential to provide effective management strategies to conserve the existence of the burrowing owl. And like I said, one of the primary threats to burrowing owls in Texas is loss and fragmentation of suitable habitats. Because they prefer open grasslands and prairies, and they rely on abandoned mammal burrows for nesting, urbanization and agriculture have led to conversion of these habitats into human-dominated landscapes. So they have very limited nesting sites. So to address the challenges posed by habitat loss, conservation efforts should focus primarily on habitat restoration and creation. So the use of more public land, the introduction of more public land, and the more sustainable use of lands that burrowing owls are primarily using for their nesting grounds. So this would involve identifying, protecting existing owl habitats while simultaneously establishing new areas with suitable burrowing conditions. Collaborative initiatives involving government agencies, conservation organizations such as our own, and local communities are going to be crucial for the success of such projects. Additionally, incentivizing landowners to conserve owl-friendly landscapes through conservation easements and habitat management can contribute to long-term success. So that was something our group talked about a lot, is just making sure that their habitats are already being preserved as they are now or being reintroduced. And then as far as local communities go, another thing we talked about was raising awareness about the importance of burrowing owls and what they can contribute to the environment. So garnering support for conservation efforts is going to be a big one. But in conclusion, the management of burrowing owls in Texas requires a multifaceted approach that combines habitat restoration, community engagement, research, and policy support. So by addressing some of the challenges posed by habitat loss and fragmentation, fostering community involvement and implementing protective measures, we can work together to ensure that the survival and well-being of these iconic birds is protected. The conservation of burrowing owls does not only contribute to the preservation of biodiversity, but it also highlights the importance of sustainable practices for the benefit of both wildlife and human communities in Texas. So that was what our group has been working on over the last couple months, and we hope that we did a sufficient job explaining what would be necessary to go into protecting this species. So, yeah.